Hey everyone, welcome back to the Photobooth Supply Co YouTube channel. My name is Cameron with the Photobooth Supply Co success team, and I am here with Catalina from Modern Photobooth Company. We're going to be talking all about probably the most exciting new feature that we've had in a while, and that is the template and overlay editor. So I'm super excited about it. I think it is so cool. This is something that we've been waiting so long to show you guys, and I think it's going to be a huge game changer. So normally we talk a little bit before I actually share my screen, but today I really want to jump in and just kind of start showing it off because it really is so cool. So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and as we go through everything, Kat and I are going to be talking a little bit about the different ways that you can use it, just kind of running through how to use it if you haven't had an opportunity to play with it yet. But I really do encourage everybody to log into Salsa, start playing with it. If you don't have Salsa, you get a 30-day free trial, so sign up for the trial, play around with it. It's going to be a game changer. So, Kat, I know you've been playing with it. What do you think so far?
I love it. I mean, obviously, because you can do everything in the app, but also anyone can do it. Like, if you have staff, they can do it. So I've had the access to it for a little bit longer than most people, which is really nice. But yeah, I've been so excited to be able to actually like talk about this because I feel like I've been keeping it in the secret for so long because I got to beta test it, but I am in love with it.
Yeah, and it's not just the template editor either. I think obviously that's the big focus. Everybody's super excited about it, myself included, but there are some changes to proposals too, and there's some pretty big changes. So we'll definitely be covering that a little bit towards the end just to kind of run that by you guys. But before anything, let's kind of get started and just show off the template editor. So you can find it in Salsa. Everything is in the same place that you would normally expect. So I'm in this Isabel and Cole event. We are saying goodbye to Dominique and Brighton for today. We're hitting it off with a new couple. So you just jump into configure event like you always would. You click on capture settings up here on the very top. Obviously, doing this on the Salsa web app is by far the easiest way to do it, so you can obviously do it on your computer. And then once you're in the capture settings, under capture modes, click on this little gear icon on the photo box. Again, just like before, the only difference is that instead of uploading your template, you're going to actually be able to make it inside of Salsa too. So we're going to click on that, click on create new template. And if you do log into the Salsa app and you haven't done so already, there's actually a little bit of a walkthrough too. So if you join a little bit later in this video or you just kind of want to play with it yourself, when you log in, there'll be a pop-up letting you know about the new feature. Just click on show me more and it'll actually walk you through how to get here. So in this case, we're going to use the template library, which is another cool thing about this. It's not just the fact that you can easily make these designs within the app without having to use like Canva or Photoshop, but you also have access to all of the designs that we've uploaded. And there's going to be more and more to come over the following months. So super excited about that. What size should we do? Let's do a 2x6. Two by 6 is probably the most popular. So we're going to click on.
The nice thing is, though, that just so everyone knows, like you get the same like variation of the template in every single format that it's available in.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that is a very good point. So I clicked on 2x6 in this case, but like Kat said, all of these designs are going to be available on all the different sizing options. So in this case, I can either start from scratch. I'm not going to do that quite yet. We'll dive into that in just a second here. I'm actually going to choose from one of these designs. And if you scroll down, there are tons of designs that will show up. And again, as time goes on, we're going to be adding more and more designs. So always come back and check, especially if it's been a while, because you might find a new design that you haven't seen. But up here, you actually might notice that there's a filter section. And if I click on filter, again, these categories are only going to continue to grow. But when I look at this, I can filter by color. I can filter by the categories. So for this particular event that we're using as an example, it's going to be a wedding event. So I'm actually going to filter by the wedding category, and it's going to show me all of the different designs that were made specifically for weddings. Now, that's obviously not to say that the other designs might not work, but these ones were made with a wedding in mind. So I'm going to choose this one. This is one of my personal favorite templates here. And when I click on it, you're going to see everything's loaded up. Now, previously, how you would edit this is you would actually take these pre-made templates and throw them in the Photoshop and just change the text or move some things around. But you would have to install the fonts in order to be able to do that. With the template editor, all of those fonts are already included. it's really as easy as just clicking on the name. So obviously for this example, we're using Isabel and Cole. So I want to get rid of our beloved Dominique and Brighton. I'm going to throw Isabel and Cole. And that's pretty much it. I can obviously change the rest of it. I can, change the location, the date, for example. I could do, let's change it to September 25th, 2021. And within this editor, if you've used Canva before, it's really, really similar. So the way that a lot of things work is very similar. You can obviously make the text bigger or smaller. I can, change how wide or how tall the text box is. So maybe I want to have it onto 2 lines, and I can make their names a little bit bigger here. Drag that over here into the center. And that's pretty much it. If I wanted to be done, I could be done. But of course, you have a ton of different fonts that you can choose from. If I click on the text, there are so many fonts.
And
so
good
many
ones too.
Yeah, and they're really nice. So for example, maybe I wanted to change it to this font right here. I could. Obviously, I would probably want to make this text a little bit smaller just so I can actually fit everything in here. But yeah, it's super, super easy to kind of manipulate and make your own. Am I missing anything, Kat? I mean, there's a ton of other stuff, but I'll let you talk on it.
Don't forget the overlays, because you can layer on here, right? So before, you had to create an overlay, and you had to create a background, and you had to upload them separately, but you can create all of that in one spot. So, if you had more, if you actually wanted the words to go over the photos, you could do that. You could add words on top of that. You can add elements, all that kind of stuff. So editing, there's editing existing ones, which is great because that saves you so much time. They're already loaded in there. But you can also add to them, and then of course you can create your own, which I know we're going to go over that in just a minute.
Yeah, and I actually have a couple of assets for the overlays. So when we get into the overlay editor, because this isn't just the template editor, we also have this same feature for the overlays as well. So just like what, get pink just so you guys can kind of see it. But I don't have to have it overlap the photo either. If I wanted this to go behind, you actually have these 2 buttons right here, which will send things either forward or backwards. So very similar to how layers work in Photoshop. So for example, if I send it behind, I could just keep sending it behind. And now you see that it starts to go behind some of these photos, and it would be part of the background essentially. But again, I can also send this forward and have it on top of everything as well. So really, really easy to manipulate and change these things up. You also do have a download PSD button. So instead of having to download them from the marketing materials, you could download them directly from this editor in case there's some more advanced editing that you want to do with them. Super, super easy to edit these and change them. I'm actually going to delete this text. I'm going to save this for our proposal.
One thing
to
add though about that PSD download button, that only downloads the original though.
Correct.
Because you can download the PSD file from the marketing material through the Salsa app, but also if you open it in here, you can also download it quickly, and then you can edit it in Photoshop. It's just to make it a little bit easier to get the original, but it will not download the changes that you make. It's only the original file. Yeah,
no, and that's a really good point to make. Thank you. Thanks for bringing that up. And that also applies to the overlays too. So obviously we just went through the template editor. That was pretty straightforward. If I go into the overlay section now and I click on add overlay, you're really going to be greeted by kind of the same setup. The difference here is just that it's for an overlay instead of being for a photo template. So if I click on use overlay library here, I can choose my sizing. So maybe I wanted to go with a square. And then I'm going to have the same options. I'm going to be able to choose what overlay I want to use. And in this case, if I wanted it to match, I could also filter by wedding here. I find that matching design down here in the lower bottom left. Click on that, and same thing applies, right? I just have to go through and make the changes. Again, we have that download PSD button. So if you wanted to download the original overlay, you could do that as well. So super, super simple. The one thing, and if you're new to this also and you haven't played around with the photo templates and overlays, the easiest way to kind of remember the difference between them is photo templates are only for photo. So that's where you'll get that traditional photo booth look, is what I usually say, where you have the multiple photos on a strip or a 4x6. Whereas the overlays will work on all capture modes. So it'll work on photos, it'll work on boomerangs, GIFs, videos, so on and so forth. If you have a photo template set up, then you would want an overlay if you're going to also enable boomerang, GIF, video, that sort of thing. So pretty easy to kind of note the difference between them. You just want to practice a little bit with it, and it'll kind of make sense. So for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to change it to Isabel and Cole again. Again, I could change that font so I could have it match. I think it was this one that I used on the other one. Same thing. I can make the text a little bit bigger. I can make this box a little bit smaller. I can't see
your screen in real time.
Yeah, I know. For the next one, we'll figure out something so you can actually see what I'm doing. So so you don't have so much of a delay. But on the bright side, you get to see it when everybody else does, right?
That's true. You can also check out the little layer buttons, because you can play around with those leaves.
Yeah.
How you can put stuff up and down, because that's really cool.
No, that's a really good point, especially on this one. This one's actually a really good example of it. So you guys can kind of see these leaves here. They are behind this box, essentially. If I wanted it to overlap, I could do that. And again, I'm just going to use those little layer buttons to move this forward. Keep moving it forward. Actually might have clicked on the wrong thing now that I look at it.
It's kind of hard to see them sometimes.
Yeah.
Because there's actually a lot of leaves on there.
Yeah. Oh, in this case, actually, you know what it is? That little white box is connected to the leaves. That's what it is. So if I move it forward, it's going to move everything forward. So this isn't a perfect example, but let's just say that these were two separate assets. This was a separate box that I uploaded in separate leaves. I could click on these leaves and move them forward. So same sort of thing with the text, for example. I can move that forward and back. Super easy to really create stuff with it. Again, I could change the date here so that everything's consistent with it from before. So I'm going to do September 25th again. And that's just
makes life so much easier.
It really does. Like, it's so quick too. I mean, obviously we've done videos in the past on how to edit stuff in Canva or in Photoshop, and it's relatively quick to do it once you kind of get that practice a little bit. But this just makes it so easy. I mean, you guys saw, if you wanted to change just the name, you could change just the name, and you're in and out in maybe a minute at most.
Oh yeah. Oh
so super easy. So I'm going to save and exit on this one, but obviously with overlays, we can add more than one overlay, right? So for this one, I'm actually going to show you guys, one of the questions that we get a lot is, my client just wants their logo on it. They don't want anything else. They don't want any design. They just want their logo over top of their photos. And now you can do it really, really easily. So again, I'm going to click on square here. Now, instead of choosing a design, I'm going to choose just this blank template option up here in the upper left. And now when I have this blank, basically blank canvas, I can start to add text. I can start to add assets. This is also how I can upload an overlay that I've already made in Photoshop or in Canva. So just for this example, I'm just going to add just a company logo. So I'm going to click on select art asset here. I've already uploaded a logo for Coke, so I'm going to use their logo as kind of the example here. And you'll see that it shows up on the template, or on the overlay rather. So just like everything else, I can resize this. I can make it smaller, I can make it bigger. I'm just going to throw it right down here on the lower part of the overlay. But again, I could also add text here if I wanted to. So I could put, let's just say grand opening or something like that, right? And just like before, I can make this text bigger. I can make it smaller. Can choose how I want to align the text, so I can center it if I wanted to. You can also use this tool right here and spin it around, essentially. Same thing with art assets. So again, if you had like a bunch of like leaves that you uploaded, you could spin those around and make it look a little bit different. So super super easy to create designs. Again, it's super similar to Canva as well. So if you've used Canva before, you'll be able to use this pretty easily.
And one of the things that I think is going to be most beneficial is, I've seen, unfortunately, a few posts where it's like, oh, I just got to an event and the template's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And like they're scrambling to get someone with Photoshop or Canva to help them. It's like, now you can just log into the web app from your iPad. It's not available on the iOS version yet.
Yeah.
But you can just open a web browser on your iPad, go to app.photoboothsupplyco.com, and you can edit your template and it'll sync right away. So you can literally correct anything on the fly. Or maybe they change their mind. Maybe you get there and they're like, you know what? Take the sponsor off or something. You can make all of those changes really quickly.
Yeah, which is super, super nice because, again, it just makes it so much easier to do it. Last minute changes aren't such a headache as they once used to be. It just really makes the entire process super simple. The last thing I really want to show off with the overlays is you still do have the option to make your overlays elsewhere. If you are a Photoshop or Canva pro and you live, breathe Photoshop or Canva, you can still make your overlays there. Don't worry. You'll essentially do the same thing that I did just now. You'll click add overlay. We're going to use the overlay library here. Again, I'm going to go with square, and then I'm going to choose that blank template. And instead of adding an art asset, which is what I did before to add that Coke logo, I'm actually just going to click select overlay, select the overlay down here. And you probably noticed too, and this is something that's kind of cool as well, it'll tell you the size that it needs to be. Obviously, we've always had the cheat sheet on our support site, but this makes it even easier to really see what sizing you need to use and what type of file format, which is also really important. So if I click on select overlay, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, so easy.
Yeah, it really is. And again, this is a design I've already made in the past. These are some older ones from some older live streams that we've done. So if I select this one, for example, it's ready to go. I don't have to do anything else. And I could, though, if I wanted to, right? So maybe I made my overlay, and just like Kat said, maybe something changes at the last minute, right? Maybe all of a sudden they want to add congratulations on the top. Well, I could use that text tool. I could write out congratulations. Again, make it a little bit bigger, center it even, and then just have that on the top or even on the bottom too. So super easy to do. Really, I keep saying easy, but I don't really have a better word for it other than it's super easy.
We should just rename this super easy to do.
Yeah, yeah, really, because it really is, and it makes everything easy.
Yeah. And there's the thing that makes this so unique is that Photobooth Supply Co keeps loading in more and more templates, and it's just going to get better, right? Like this is version 1, which is amazing, and you know that they're going to come out with more versions where it's like, you can add who knows what. Maybe they'll start adding an asset library or who knows, but I know that they're going to be uploading a lot more templates and stuff. So now you'll have access to them right away. You won't have to go download them from the marketing material, and it shows up in the proposals.
Yeah.
So you can actually show them to your clients right away. Yeah,
and it just, again, connecting this, when you have the template editor and you have the proposals, making a potential proposal for a potential client, it is that much easier, right? Because now you're not taking the time to go in the Photoshop or Canva. You're doing everything in the same web app. You're not leaving it. You don't even have to leave it if you don't want to. And it just makes everything, I can't stand that I keep saying easy, but it really does make everything easy. So that is.
Go to your thesaurus and find another word for easy.
Simple, easy. I don't know. leave some other words for easy I could use in the chat, please. So that is the template editor. That is the overlay editor. Obviously, very, very similar. You can do a ton of really cool things with them. Anything I missed as far as those two features are concerned, Kat?
No, we went over making custom ones. You can still do blank. So even if you don't want to have anything, you can still do just a blank photo.
Yep.
And we went over templates and overlays. So no, I think we're good. Let's show them what it looks like in the proposal and all those fun changes.
Yeah, the proposals are really cool. They just got that much better. So the proposals look very, very similar when you click on it to what you saw before. Of course, you have the call to action button, which you can now turn off. So if you don't want to have a call to action button, you don't need to have one. But then you're going to notice something new down here on the very bottom, and this is the customized text section. So before, the proposal would essentially just write everything out for you, right? Which is great. It makes it really easy to do and to create a proposal. But if you
watch this and turn it into a drinking game,
oh my God.
Cameron said the word easy.
Well, yeah, yikes. Probably don't do that. That's probably not a good idea. But now, if there's something that you want to change, or you don't like the way that it's worded, or you want to make it more custom for you and for your photo booth business, you can enable this custom text section, and you can change everything. You can change what the LED and interface section says. You can change what the backdrop section says, all of it. So really easy to make changes.
No, Daryl just gave you a suggestion. Simplistic.
Super simplistic. Thank you. Keep them coming, because I'm going to need more, I think. So super simplistic to make these changes, of course. And it again is really nice if you want to touch on something that maybe you offer that doesn't show up in the proposals, you could use it that way.
I love using this section though to customize it like exactly to my client's event. So I preach this, that every time we talk to a client, we find out what is the goal of that event, like what are they trying to achieve with it? Because people don't hire photo booths just to take pictures. There's usually like they want people to share, or they want to like collect information, whatever it is. In our proposals, we highlight how every single feature helps them get to their goal. So this is where that comes in to be really, really important. If you're trying to stand out, or maybe there's something that they said during the conversation that you want to keep reiterating throughout the proposal, this is the place where you can put it.
Yeah. And this is a perfect example, right? For the sharing section, guests can instantly get their capture so they can start sharing. Maybe you wanted to add, guests can instantly get their captures so they can share and tag you on social media, right? Not a huge change, but just that small change can really make a big difference, especially if you're working with with a corporate client, right? And this also works too when you're talking about something like weddings. So for example, videos, collect a variety of moments of your guests in videos up to 120 seconds. Well, maybe you want to say, use our photo booth as a virtual guest book to capture memories and wishes or something like that, right? Really, whatever you want to add here, it's super simplistic to do.
Wait, you have 3 more words. Daryl's really coming.
Super. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate you. It's super effortless, super uncomplicated. Everything straightforward. Love it. But yeah, it does make it super nice. You can make these little changes, and especially when you're working with some clients, right? Some clients don't fully understand or grasp what it is that you're trying to convey. And if your proposal doesn't convey that in a really effortless way, they might have a harder time understanding it. So by you being able to change this text, it makes all the difference. And it might be that one little difference that really seals the deal. So
proposals are amazing. If you guys haven't started using them, like, you need to, because they definitely, for us, it was a game changer. We implemented a third-party software because this didn't exist before. And when we started doing proposals, like, our close ratio went through the roof. People didn't even bother like asking us about our pricing or anything, because we presented everything to them so clearly, and they saw the value in it, that we started seeing way less people like rejecting us because of price or anything like that. So very important to use proposals. But one thing I actually did want to go back to, Cameron, is the call to action button.
Yeah, I was just going to say with the email address, right?
Yes. Well, you can link, right? If you wanted to link to like some people use CRMs, like client management systems, that will allow you to book directly, or maybe you've already created an invoice for them, so you can link. But now you can also have it like open an email so that they can email you right away and say, yes, like, book me now.
Yeah, which is really great too, especially if maybe you're just starting out and you don't have your CRM tool completely set up, or you don't have an invoicing system set up yet. I mean, again, even if you haven't received your Salsa booth, you can still sign up for Salsa. You can still start sending out proposals, right? You don't need your booth to do that. And just like Kat said, not only does it show people what your booth actually offers, and it lays it all out nicely for them, you have to understand that we know our booths. We understand what our booth can do and all of its features and why those features are so valuable. A lot of people don't necessarily understand that, right? And I talk about this a lot. If you've ever had a strategy call or an onboarding with me, I talk a lot about, you can ask everybody on the street, do you know what a photo booth is? And most people are probably going to say yes, right? But the way that I look at a photo booth or think of a photo booth is very different than how you might think of one, or how your grandma might think of one, right? They are very different ideas that we have about what a photo booth is and what it can do. So just having this proposal and showing all of those features, showing the value behind it, and showing why it's worth paying, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, $1,000+ for it, it makes a really big difference.
Yeah, it totally does. And for anyone who's new, if you have just bought your salsa booth and you're still waiting for it, because I know that they can't keep up right now. Even I can't order one and I need more. But if you create proposals, like you might not have a website. Websites take a little bit of time to set up. You know, even the template that Photobooth Supply Co gives you with Page Cloud, like that one's really great. And you can set it up in like a couple of days type of thing. But if you need something really quick, as soon as you sign up for your app, you can literally just turn on all the features in your proposal, throw your logo in there, and that can be your flyer for now, or it can even be a temporary website. And that way you can start reaching out to people, send them that. It has, like, you literally have to do nothing. I mean, you can change some of the words if you want to, but at the end of the day, like, it's pretty much like an instant website for you to start sending out to clients and having them understand like you're ready to take bookings, right? And then you can start working on your website so that you don't rush that one as much.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the thing about it too is you don't, if somebody reaches out to you and let's say they say, hey, I'm looking for a photo booth for my wedding, my budget is $800. You don't have to wait to hear from them what exactly they're looking for before you send out that proposal. You know how much they're going to pay, that you know how much their budget is, you know that it's for a wedding. So make a generic wedding proposal that fits that budget, right? Maybe that $800 falls into your basic or your middle package, right? And if that's the case, build out a proposal as if it was one of your basic or middle packages and just send that over to them. Say, hey, this is what your budget will get you with my photo booth. These are the features you'll have. And again, you can even customize and add more information to these, you know, to these sections to really explain to people what it is that they're going to be getting with you. So very, very simple. Again, as Kat was kind of talking here, I clicked on the proposal to show you guys what it actually looks like. And you can see on the GIFs and on the videos, the boomerangs, we see that overlay that we created with those fonts and everything that we've added there. And then, of course, with the photo template, same sort of thing. So you can see everything exactly how it showed in your template or overlay editor. It all appears directly here. And again, you guys have seen, I didn't leave the Salsa web app for any of this. I can do this all in one place. We've been talking a lot and kind of going over all the benefits of all this stuff, but it's only been 30 minutes. And
I know
it doesn't take long to really send this to a client, especially if you're not talking about all the value while you're doing it, right?
But how amazing is it that it already says their name on it, so they can visualize exactly what their photo, like it shows their backdrop, it shows their name, their date. Like, guys, I used to do this manually for every single one of my clients. I would go into Photoshop. I had like a library of backdrops. I would drop those images in. I would change it. I would save it as a JPEG, and then I would put it into my proposal software, and then I would type out the entire proposal software. Like, I thought that I had it down to as quick as I possibly could back then, and now I'm just like, this is so dead simple.
Yeah. Well, especially too, because like maybe it's not a client who seems super serious, right? And you might not want to spend that additional time in Photoshop or in Canva making that design for them because you don't know if they're actually going to book with you. Well, now you don't have to. You literally select whatever design makes sense for what they've told you, you know, whether that's a lot of information or a little bit, and just adding their name to it makes it that much more personal. And the more personal you get, the more likely you are that you're actually going to close it. So again,
I like how Daryl thinks. He says that a virtual booth would be
that's also true
for $800 budget.
Yeah, no, for sure.
We're gonna do a whole one on how to price your photo booth and get those higher prices.
Yeah, we sent out an email. If you guys are part of our mailing list, we sent out an email a little while ago about raising your prices. But yeah, let's plan on another live stream to talk all about that. I know it's a question a lot of people have. I know a lot of people feel like they need to raise their prices but don't know how. So definitely say,
this will help.
Yeah, this helps too. I mean, this is one example, just having proposals and being able to create this and have so much more information. I mean, that already makes a difference. But definitely keep checking back on our Facebook and our Facebook page. That's where we'll always post when we're going to do a live stream. So probably within the next couple of weeks, you'll see a live stream all about pricing. So definitely watch out for that. But really the only last thing I wanted to just kind of point out here, because I don't think I did, was we talked about videos and how I customized what it said. You can see it right here, and it doesn't look any different, right? So I didn't customize what Boomerang said, but I did customize what video say. And you can even customize this header here too. So maybe I wanted to go with that, virtual guest book kind of marketing. I could even change it from video to say virtual guest book, right? Yep. And they're not going to know the difference.
So Hasana asked, if you don't do instant photos, can that be removed from the proposal? Yes. So if you don't create a template and you just do Boomerang and digital, like just the one image, then you can, if you don't make it, it won't show up on there.
Yeah.
So I know that this looks like it has a print template on it, but you can still do a digital booth using the print template without printing. Like, we still mostly use our salsa booth for digital only. I just started delving into printing myself, and unless I'm there with the booth, we use our digital booth for a lot of drop-offs, but if I'm there with the booth, we'll do printing. But just because you don't have a printer doesn't mean you can't use the templates. You can still use it because it will save the original photo and the templated photo, and your guests will be able to share the templated photo even if you don't print. I hope that answers your question.
No, and that's a really good thing to bring up too. I mean, 2x6 might seem a little weird to do. I mean, you obviously can do it digitally, right? But that might seem a little bit weirder because it's not going to fit as well on social media. But like a 4x6, for example, this is just like a normal photo, right? It's like a normal landscape photo. You just have photos inside of it as well. So doing something like a 4x6, for example, I'm going to save this real quick and go back to the proposal. Again, it just says, obviously it says instant photos here, but maybe you wanted to change this to just say photos. Again, that's something you can do now. Or digital, right? Yeah, digital photo strip or whatever, whatever verbiage you want to use that's going to help you make it make sense to your client. So.
And the other great thing now is that you can add pricing. I know a lot of people were like, oh, well, I can't add my price to the proposal. But now that you can customize everything, you can add your price. So for example, for photos, you could say like digital photo. And then in the description, you can say add prints for, $400 for 3 hours or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that way you can have add-ons to your proposal. If your clients weren't sure whether or not they wanted prints, you can kind of do little upsells in there too.
Yeah. One thing too is kind of going back to what you were saying in the beginning about using this as kind of like a mini website before you actually have your website finished. I mean, you could even almost do this like a brochure, right? You could do photos. If you're doing like an a la carte type pricing, you could even break down, put photos and maybe you put $250, right? If you're doing fully a la carte or whatever it might be. And again, that's going to show up directly on the proposal. Now we're going to see photos, $250. Or maybe there's certain features that you're going to show off in the proposal that aren't included in one of your packages. Video, for example, would be a good one. Virtual booth would be another good one. You could include it, add the pricing here, and, super easy to do. Super simplistic, effortless, straightforward.
All of the simplicity. But the glam is another one that guys, like, you have to charge extra for.
Yeah.
Glam is so hot right now, and I mean, there is a lot that goes into it. I know it seems like you're just like clicking on this thing, but no, the lighting makes a difference. How close to the booth you are also makes a difference. And people have different preferences. Like, for example, our glam look is a lot different than some of the other companies' glam look. Some of them like darker glam, and we really like that like super bright glam.
Yeah.
So, if you have glam on there, if you select glam, it'll show up on your proposal. If you don't have it selected, it no longer shows up, which is nice.
Yeah.
And you can put the charge on there and be like, glam up your photo booth for an extra like $200, and I guarantee you people are, they're gonna want to go for the glam. I don't think we have like 95% of the photo booths that we have booked for 2022 are glam. It's ridiculous. I don't know why I offer other products.
Well, and the thing too, and one thing I really want to focus on, especially because everything we've talked about is so simple and effortless and straightforward. Just because it is so easy to do now, both proposals and creating templates and overlays, don't undervalue yourself along the way. It might seem like, okay, this is a lot easier, so maybe I don't have to charge as much for it. Don't have that mindset. This is something that your software can do for you, but that doesn't take away from your expertise, doesn't take away from your time, doesn't take away from all of the other costs that go into actually running your photo booth business. So as easy or as straightforward or whatever word you want to use as things get, That's normal, especially over time. You're going to only get better and better. You're going to get faster at it. That does not change the value. And Kat brought up a really good point with the glam mode. Obviously, for Salsa on the back end, we literally push a couple of buttons, right? And that's how we enable glam mode. But that doesn't mean that you don't need expertise. That doesn't mean that you don't have your special lighting setup that maybe you use, or a special backdrop, right? There's a lot that goes into it. So do not undervalue yourself, especially now that it is so simplistic.
Oh my god.
That word's gonna kill me.
It for sure.
Maybe we release like an edited version of it with like a counter in the corner. How many times did I use
every time you say simplistic or effortless, like it's a swear word?
Yeah. So that is really that's essentially the update. It's a big one. It's probably the biggest one that we've had in a while, like since the release of proposals anyway. Anything I missed? I don't think so.
I think you're good. But for any of you guys who are in the Photobooth Supply Co owners Facebook group, there's also a post in there that I'm going to go and find and pin it about how to present your templates to your client like ahead of time. So if they decide that they don't like the one in your proposal, let's say, and they want something else, I'm gonna pin that. It has a document that you can edit, and you can present all of your templates to your client so that they can pick and choose, and then you can just go and edit them in the template editor. So keep an eye out for that in the Photobooth Supply Co Facebook page. Remember, you have to be an owner to be in there, but if you are an owner and you're not in that group, you need to go there now.
Yeah, and that was something that we sent out to everybody, right? That was
we sent it to Photobooth Supply Co owners.
Okay, cool. Yes.
They get the
yeah. So yeah, definitely make sure you join that group if you haven't. And again, if you haven't played around with Salsa in a while, or maybe you're using a different software because it had something similar to this, well, it's time to come on back to Salsa and give it another go. You obviously have a 30-day free trial. There is a link in the video description below to sign up for it as well. Super easy. Oh my God. I'm doing it without even realizing it now, which is getting bad. I think this is where I wrap up. But yeah, definitely give it a shot if you haven't in a while. And these are just two of the newest features. If it's been a while since you've used Salsa, there's probably a ton more that you didn't realize we've added over time. So I think that's it for me. Kat, any last words?
No, you covered all of the easy features that are available.
All the straightforward, simplistic, effortless features of Salsa.
And props again to Daryl for dropping all those.
Yeah. Thank you, Daryl. I would have. It would have been a really annoying video had you not given me those. This is trouble-free. Thank you. He says. Appreciate it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us and asking questions along the way. If you do have any other questions, feel free to throw them into the comments of this video. We'll be checking on those from time to time. Otherwise, you can always reach out to our success team. It's just support@photoboothsupplyco.com. Thanks again, Kat, for hanging out with me, and we will see you guys in the next live stream.
Oh, Cameron, you forgot one thing.
What?
Don't forget to subscribe and like.
Oh my God, it's been so long. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe and like to the YouTube channel. It's been a while since we've done a live stream, but there will be more coming. And we covered all the features. I mean, we kind of got stuck. We didn't know what to do. So if you guys have any ideas for future live streams, definitely let us know as well. You can let us know in the Facebook group or in the comments on this video. We want to provide you guys with content that you guys actually want to see. So let us know. And I think that's it. So thanks for hanging out.
Bye, guys.